All right, let's get into a little bit of ChatGPT. This is artificial intelligence for apologetics. And I'm David, and the way I learn best is just by doing. So I'm just going to kind of jump in. We'll talk about some ChatGPT stuff as we go. Pretty much everything we do here is going to be useful for any AI model that you use, Claude, Gemini, Copilot, whatever you want to do. I've been using ChatGPT for a while, so it's where I'm most comfortable. You can see this says it's a temporary chat. That's because your AI, if you're signed in with your account and using it, then it's going to learn from you, from your responses. It'll update. It has memories, so it'll update information about you. And you can go in and you can clear that out. You can actually turn that off if you want. But my Chat GPT knows a lot about me and my ministry and the things that I like to do and what I'm looking for. So for this demo, I don't want to have any of that. I want you to just see what a plain ChatGPT is going to be like you've never even logged in before. It's not going to have any of that customization or memory or anything. But like I said, I like to learn by doing. So if you're into apologetics and you're going, what can I use this for? Um, there's all sorts of things. I use it for brainstorming a lot. I kind of think of it as a lot of people say treat it like an intern. And an intern is somebody that you will give a task, they'll run off and do it, and then they'll come back and say, hey, here's the completed work. And then you'll take a look at it and go, yeah, maybe they did great, maybe they didn't, but you have to use discernment to with the answer that comes back. Um, I've yeah, so in a way, it's kind of like that. Or imagine you have, you're in graduate school and you're a graduate assistant, and the professor you're advising says, go do a bunch of research about this thing, and you run out and you spend the whole semester doing a ton of research, and you come back and you have a stack of research. ChatGPT can do that for you, can do that kind of stuff, but that professor is going to want to vet that and make sure that you did it right. And so that's the role that we play with ChatGPT. We can task it to do things, but we always have to verify, and it doesn't replace human learning. It kind of can speed things up as far as some of those more mundane tasks, or it can give you a huge creativity boost if you've got writer's block or something. In fact, let's start here. Say I'm a Christian apologist, and I want to write a blog post, for example. I can just go in here and say um, about list 50 apologetics arguments for Christians. Super simple. 50. Do you think there are 50 apologetic arguments, though? Um, hmm, right. So, yeah. And now we can pick one of these to do some research and really get into. I'd say it found 50. Let's see. Here's one we don't see a lot. Survival of Christianity. Um, let's just say I didn't know what was going to come out of this. Like I said, um, this is a plain doesn't know anything about me. You've seen the very first prompt I've typed into this. Um, so it can have quick reference summaries. So we don't want that. We're wanting a blog post. So how about tell me more about survival of Christianity? Um, wow, that's that's a lot of text, right? This could be super interesting. At this point, it probably knows that I'm a Christian, and so it's probably skewing the answers towards that, because that's something that AI does, is it gives you the answer that it thinks you want. And so AI has been known to be intentionally, let's say, not deceptive, but it tells you what you want to hear. So if you are very clear that what you want to hear is not true, then it will tell you things that are not true, which is why it's good to go back and verify all this stuff. But this is a lot here, right? So what if I just want to? I'll say summarize this in, we'll say, 300 words. Well, there you go, 300 words. And look at that. So you think I could stand up on Sunday at my church and say, from an apologetic standpoint, this resilience demands explanation. Sociologically, it's rare for leaderless movements to persist. Those are a lot of big words. Um, what if my intended audience is a youth group? Um, let's see, I'll say rewrite this uh, at, let's say, sixth grade level. I think our youth usually starts around there. And how about rewrite this at the level that an average sixth grade student would find interesting, compelling. Let's see what it comes up with. Now, it's still remembered my word limit, and so that's why it's still keeping about the same size. Um, it's about how the message of Jesus kept spreading. Um, and if we just peek at the words it's using here, um, it's not using those big words that it was before. Um, and here, notice it's even saying that it's calling the Book of Acts a history book. That's pretty interesting. Um, and so there we go. Um, what about if I want to use this concept with VBS students? Students, we'll say K through third grade. Okay, make it anyway. See, this is what I'm telling my intern or my graduate assistant, right? Just rethink about it. Okay, VBS, the message that wouldn't stop. A long time ago, Jesus came and showed people how much God loved him. He healed the sick. Um, so if you look at the words that are used here, they're simple, more simple, they're more engaging, right? And main point for kids, God's love is unstoppable. Does that sound like the VBS theme you've ever heard? I think it does. And it even gives you a memory verse. It's a great verse too. Um, and it offers to make a skit. Wow. So that's a little bit about what ChatGPT can do with this stuff. Now, my original goal was I wanted to write a blog post, but I kind of got distracted, and that's one of the challenges with ChatGPT is that you can get into some weeds. But let's see. I'll say, oh, I forgot. I I meant to be writing a blog post. Let's see. What should I ask it to help me with this blog post? I want it to be interesting for the average Christian and challenging for the skeptic. It should give both something to think about. How should I approach that? And now with ChatGPT, it will write your blog post for you, literally. It's That's not how I like to use it because when you do that, then the writing, it's not in your voice quite. And I've actually got a GPT. We'll cover this later. I got a GPT I created that's called Talking to Myself, where I've uploaded my own writing, a whole bunch of it. So I could take something like this and put it in there and say, write it in my voice. And it still doesn't sound like me. It's close, but people who know what I sound like and how I write, they know it's not me. And I've tested this with social media. The stuff that if I just grab a picture with a quote and I type it myself in there and hit go and post it to social media versus if I have AI write a short reflection or devotional or whatever and hit go on that. The ones that are AI generated don't get as much traction. It's like the algorithms can detect the AI. Um, a lot of people say it lacks soul. It's a little vanilla. I think a lot of it's pretty good, but there's a tone to it that's wrong. So I don't advise letting it write for you, but here it's doing really good with with giving me ideas for how to do things. And it's given me, this outline for a blog post that I could take. And if I want to, I could go, you know what, I'm gonna I'm gonna take out 3 points because this is too long. Um, but let's see. So yeah, here's the outline for the blog post. Hook both audiences. Example openers. Um, I mean, this is not my style, but it doesn't know my style because this is a temporary chat. But um, let's see. What if I want to tell it a narrative style conversation between two people? Survival of so now it's given me a lot more, ideas. So I think that's pretty cool. So this is just a general brainstorming thing. Um, if you're ever not sure about what you should study next, or that the first prompt that I used where it gave me the 50 apologetics arguments, this is a great place to go to look for an area to push into that maybe um, isn't talked about much. I mean, undesigned coincidences, that one's come up a little bit more recently. That's becoming um, more popular, but it's still, there's a lot of work that can be done there. And your average Christian isn't going to know about that probably. And so if you're wanting to reach people in your church with some cool stuff to get their brain going so they get more interested in apologetics, that may be a great one to go with. Um, and so you could do this. You can actually do, you could do more. You could do 100 apologetics arguments. You could do, whatever. The sky's the limit. Um, God-shaped hole. That sounds like a good one. So anyway, I could talk about this all day. I think I'm going to call it there for now. So you can just kind of see some of the applications. And I ran through a lot of stuff. I'll leave you with this. Let's see. I'll say write up a dialogue between, and see, I'm from Oklahoma. We vacation in Missouri and Arkansas sometimes. So I'm going to say between an Ozark hillbilly, which there's some of my favorite people, good folk, um, and an Ivy League. Ooh, come on. Um, boss, the professor of this, the hillbilly convinces the professor about God, Jesus, and the gospel. Make it realistic. Right. We don't want any cheesy Christian movies, right? We want this to be the real thing. I know you've seen everything I've typed in. I didn't give it names. I didn't give it a situation. We'll see what it comes up with. All right. Realistic narrative style. It's a roadside diner off a two-lane. Let's see. Rains on the roof. Professor Whitmore is in a suit and tie. Lecture on religion and human imagination. He's sipping coffee when Earl slides into the booth across from him. They've been talking since Earl offered him a ride when his rental car hit a deer that morning. That's a realistic scenario. Earl, I appreciate the ride, but I make a living studying these things. Christianity is fascinating to me as a cultural phenomenon. Cultural phenomenon? That's a mighty fancy way of saying you think it's just something folks made up. Well, yes, stories passed down, reshaped, and survival of a religion doesn't mean it's true. People believe a lot of things. Sure, they do. But tell me, Professor, how many of those religions you studied had their leader killed in public, buried, and then had the whole movement take off like brush fire? Plenty of martyrs in history. Martyrs, yes, but they died for their leader. Jesus' own man ran off when he got arrested, ran off scared when he got arrested. Peter swore he didn't even know him. And if they just made up a story, why keep pushing it when you got them beaten, run out of town, and killed? You study people. Does that sound like human nature to you? People can be convinced of untrue things, even die for them. True, but folks didn't die for something they know is a lie. Folks don't. These men said they saw him alive again, ate fish with him, touched the holes in his hands. Either they were telling the truth or the smartest liars in history. And for what? No money, no power, just trouble. Well, that doesn't prove the resurrection happened. Could have been legend over time. Legends take time. Paul was writing about it 20 years after, quoting the creed the church was saying just a few years after the cross. That's not long enough for a fishing story to grow into a resurrection. And you know something else? The harder Rome tried to snuff it out, the more it spread. That don't happen unless there's something real behind it. So you're saying the survival of Christianity itself is evidence. Evidence and more. The message was unstoppable because the man behind it is alive and he's still changing people. Change me. I was mean as a snake till I met him. Now I got peace that ain't from this world. You can explain history all day long, Professor, but what's your explanation for him still working and folks like me right now? I don't know. Well, I reckon you ought to think on it. If he's alive, you ain't just studying ideas. You're facing a real person, and he's already done all the hard work to make you his. Hmm. So that's not bad first draft. I don't think that conversation in real life would have maybe turned out that quickly that direction, but you never know. That Earl, he seemed pretty sharp. Um, so anyway, there you go. That's some fun with ChatGPT, and we'll be back soon with more on this. But for now, just dive in and enjoy.